Small kind action and breakfast with Bob. Small kind action and breakfast with Bob. Breakfast with Bob. Breakfast with Bob.
Thank you, Pancho Man. Welcome back to Breakfast from Kona. We are presented by Active, hashtag inspired to race. And we're sponsored by Timex, Rudy Project, GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. And speaking of Rudy Project has a 40% off any Rudy Project products over at Rudy Project Village. And one of their athletes who just came from Rudy Project Village, Mr. Pete Jacobs, the 2012 Ironman World Champion. Pete, how the heck are you?
Very well, thank you, Bob. Nice and relaxed, you know. It's the only way to be here.
You are a relaxed guy. Anything bother you? Nothing bothers you?
You know, little things that weigh on my mind every now and then, you know, that bother me. But, you know, I've cleared them out and, you know, just here and focused on the race and feeling good.
Well, this is a place that you've had so much success at, right? You've been second, you've been ninth, you've won, you've run 241, you've run 242, had some of the fastest marathons ever. This last year, I mean, since you won in 2012, it's been sort of a rough go. You've had physical things. Coming back to a place like this where you've had so much success, that must be a positive for you.
Yeah, definitely. You know, horses for courses, they say. And, yeah, of all my races here out of the last 5 years, I've only had one bad race, which was last year.
Yeah.
And, you know, so for me, it's kind of I'm in my comfort zone here. You know, I know what I can do and prepared to hurt myself. And I don't know it's going to hurt, and you know, but I always look forward to it. You know, I love that feeling on the start line here. It's just so unique, and you know, I'm really accustomed to it and love it.
It was interesting. I was talking to Simon Whitfield the other day, and it was a previous interview, and he mentioned that it's hard sometimes. You get to a certain point where you've done a sport for so long, it's hard to go. You know what you need to do to really go all out. You need to go to a space that you don't necessarily want to go. Yeah. Right? You've done how many Ironman now? 20?
About 30 now.
30
probably,
now.
Yeah.
30 Ironman distance races. So do you get to a point where you know what it's going to feel like and you don't want to go there? Or is it still something you embrace?
I still embrace it, definitely. But I did want this year to be full of more positive Ironman results and positive, you know, races.
Right.
You know, as opposed to what ended up happening, having a couple of really tough, you know, 10-hour plus, you know, finishes.
Yeah.
And that just hurt my legs so much. And, you know, I really wanted to avoid that, but just couldn't. So, yeah, definitely when you know what you've got to put yourself through, you know, it makes it a little bit daunting. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I'd rather go, you know, 8 and a bit hours than, you know, 10 and a bit hours. So get it over with quicker. So that's kind of my motivation. Yeah, I still want to go to that point of pain. And, you know, I've been saving up all year to push myself to that point of pain.
Right.
Where you've got the pain, but you've also got the joy and excitement of having a good result as well.
Is there a point where you can be doing too many long races? Was there a point in your career where maybe you did too many long races in a year?
You know, looking back when I was younger and even this year, you know, I still make mistakes. You know, it's still very difficult to, you know, keep a clear head of what to do in that moment, you know, and I guess, you know, I keep making mistakes that I was making a long time ago, but, you know, at the same time, you know, I don't regret those mistakes because I keep learning from them, and it's all experience. But yeah, in terms of how many long races I've done, yeah, I think, you know, there gets to a point where the amount of training and the amount of racing is not healthy anymore. Right. And yeah, you know, you definitely feel that it's adding grey hairs and all of that.
I don't see any of that.
Oh no, there's plenty there. every race there's a few more. Yeah. And yeah, so you know, but it's the career that I've chosen, so I don't worry about that kind of stuff so much.
When you look at the field here between Sebastian Kienle, who just ran into over here, and obviously your defending champion, Frederik van Lierde, and Jan Frodeno coming over, so do you consider the other guys during the middle of the race, or do you really think about you?
Yeah, on the bike, you've definitely got to consider them because you want to stay near them.
Right.
You know, definitely want to be in the front group off the bike, and you know, so I'm going to do everything I can to be there. And
yeah.
You can't ride your own race here, and you'll get left behind. You know, with a guy like yarn here that can potentially run, much quicker than I've run here.
Right.
So,
yes.
That's the kind of guy that I go, right, I want to mark him all day and just, follow him through, and I want to hurt myself staying with him, and at all costs, just try and follow the lead guys.
So how do you see this playing out? There's a lot of 51-minute swimmer guys here, and someone like a Jan, and obviously Andy Potts there as well. There could be a pretty big group early on.
There could be a breakaway group in the swim.
Yeah.
I've gone with Andy on his feet for several hundred meters before, and then dropped off because I couldn't sustain the pace. But if there's another 3 or 4 guys there, like Jan,
yep.
Even maybe Harry Wiltshire if he decided to have a go. Dan Holtzworth, I just rode with him this morning. Guys that are potentially really good swimmers that maybe make that Andy Potts group that little bit bigger, and maybe if we drop off Andy, but we could still have another second breakaway group from the main group.
Right.
And it would really make the first section through town a lot easier. It would really make the first 20K of the Queen K that much gentler,
right.
Where you're not, kind of getting overtaken constantly and end up back in 20th place, and then you have to try and pass 20 people in one go. That gets pretty taxing mentally to try and stay alert in such a big group. So it'd be much nicer to have a smaller group and stay away. So that would be the dream case scenario. But yeah, otherwise I'm just going to have to be on my toes and watch for that little breakaway later on in the race.
Yeah, I know in 11, Crowe got away, and you were sort of not in the right place at that time. And you learned from that.
Yeah.
And you found out that maybe it's better if I'm at the front. I don't have to worry about if I put my head down and go and end up in a draft zone because I'm leading, right? Or I'm the lead of this group, and I can just focus on me. Is that what you would prefer?
Yeah, that worked really well in 2012, and I managed, but I had to be really careful when I overtook people in the group. A few people here, a few people there, so you didn't get caught out wide blocking when you hit a downhill and suddenly everyone's doing max speed. You just can't get round them, and that's when I got done in 2010.
Yeah.
And finished 9th. Blocking penalty. So that's really tough stuff to try and avoid. So, avoid that at all costs. And you've got to be really on your game. You've got to be patient, but you've got to be really tactical. So those are the things where, I want to stay up the front, and you've got to keep an eye out behind you too, because suddenly 6 guys can all just go past you on one hill and, completely change the whole aspect of it all. So yeah, it's really tactical.
So this is probably going to be Craig Alexander's last time here. I'm assuming 41 years old.
The last time again.
Again, yeah, the last time revisited. Looking back at the Australia from Greg Welch to Craig Alexander to Chris McCormick, there's been such a great legacy in terms of Aussie male and female triathletes. What did Crowe bring to the table for you, just as sort of a role model?
I saw. When I was really young, I remember Crowe, we didn't speak that much, but we saw each other at races, and every little bit of, sometimes he'd just be like, oh, well, might be racing a bit too much there, Pete, and things like that. It was like, kind of what?
Maybe 7 Ironmans isn't that good this year, Pete.
It's really tough though to, understand the big picture when you're young, and I do feel that I'm getting older now, and but like I said, I'm still got a while to go. Still making a few mistakes, still got a lot to learn, and still figuring out the big picture of my role in this sport, kind of thing, I guess.
Right.
So, and what I want out of it, and so it's a long journey, and I'm still finding my feet, I guess.
Being the world champion, obviously you as somebody who's been in the sport for so long, becoming the world champion, that's your dream, become the Ironman world champion. And then there's a lot of responsibility that goes along with that, right? You've got sponsor obligations and everybody wants you and is pulling at you. Was that tough?
I definitely got a little caught up in that, and but you can only see your mistakes in hindsight there.
Yeah.
So this week particularly, I can see that last year, probably just every now and then there was 1 or 2, extra appointments that suddenly my week got a little bit too busy, rushing between things, not letting my food digest before I then go for a run, and just things like that, where you just think you can plan it all out, but then at the end of the day, you don't have time to eat, lay on the couch, do the things that really are important this week. And so this week, a few less commitments. Yeah, a little bit better idea of, you know, how I should feel here.
Right.
You know, not feel so much pressure to go out and do a certain session if I'm feeling a little bit tired. And, you know, I guess I'm keeping my sessions pretty short and easy here. And, you know, I guess the pressure, the confidence that I had last year was a bit too much. And so I was kind of probably going through my training, you know, just that little bit too hard. You know, I guess that little bit like, oh, I'm feeling really good. I'm riding well, so I should be doing this sort of a session. You know, so that sort of things just got carried away a little bit with myself as well, I guess. So, you know, a much more relaxed, you know, view here this year.
Winning it once is awesome, obviously. Winning it a second time, Mac has won it twice, and Croy's won it 3 times, and Rennie's won it twice. And, repeating is tough, getting that second win is tough.
Yeah.
What would it mean to you to get the second win?
It would mean a hell of a lot, you know, and, you know, I think anyone that's won it once is, you know, don't want to discredit them, but,
no.
You know, I do think winning it twice, you know, really, you know, makes that claim, you know, this was not luck. This was not like an easy year or...
Nobody was there.
Nobody was there. You know,
there was no wind.
Yeah.
It was 70 degrees.
Yeah, the other guy's flattered, you know, stuff like that.
Everyone was sick.
Yeah, so... To win it twice really, you know, does say something, I think. And yeah, when I was in Roth and on the dance floor with Rennie and just sort of just said that to her, and I was like, you know, winning it twice, you know, I really want to do that like you've done, and I really think that would, you know, really is another big level. But I mean, you've got to say that, because otherwise, what else are you here for?
Well, that's what I mean.
You know, you've won it once. What do you just you either retire and go away, or you set yourself a much harder, higher goal. So. You know, and, you know, without discrediting anyone that has only won it once, it is, for me, it's that next goal for me. And, you know, it would mean a lot.
So when you're winning it once and you want to win again, on race day, when you're out there on Saturday and you're looking around, you're where you want to be and you're off the bike, do you still have the 241, 242 type of speed? Is that still there?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I haven't done a lot of running lately. I've actually been riding more hours and running less than I have in the past. But still at the 70.3 Sunny Coast a month ago, I still ran well there, like a 1:14. I was really just jogging. You know, the other guys ahead of me, the 2 other guys were duking it out, 1 and 2 up the front, sprint finish. And I really just jogged it in, and I was really pleased with the time that I ran and how I felt during the run. And, you know, I think that, you know, the way that my training's been going, it's been different to every other year once again. I think I can get off, if I get off the bike fresh, which the extra hours of training should allow me to do, you know, and that's what a lot of people say. It's about getting off the bike fresh. And, you know, so I guess I've been saving up my run legs for the race as opposed to, you know, putting it down in training.
Sometimes it's nice to be a little bit under the radar, you know, and after, you know, not having a great race last year, I'm guessing that this year you are a little under radar. It's funny how people forget. It hasn't been that long. No. I was just talking to Sebastian. So Pete won this year before last. It's not like 10 years ago. But people go, oh well, you know, he's
exactly.
Have you sensed some of that people are like, oh well, Pete, he had his win, and
I haven't really looked at all the forums or the websites, you know, the media websites and their picks. I've seen them with their links to who our picks are, and you know, I haven't bothered going to look at them, and you know, because I don't really care, because they do. I know they forget quick, and you know, I know that, you know, this is my course, and I do well here. I've had one bad year out of 4 or 5, and you know, so I'm just looking forward to getting off the bike, and then, you know, and then just hurting myself and hurting the other guys, and, you know, we all burying ourselves and crumbling and walking home, and, you know, it really would be just awesome if there was a good group and I was in it off the bike. You know, I'd be really happy. And so obviously you're feeling good about your cycling. Yeah, I think the extra hours have really, you know, played into my endurance. You know, I've done more hours in training because you can obviously do more hours on the bike than you can of running. And so more hours in training per week, I think, you know, my endurance is really up there. And, you know, and I'm just starting to freshen up these last couple of days. Feels good out there on the bike. And, you know, I think I'm just going into it as I've always known I perform best when I'm fresh. So, you know, the last few weeks training's been really light.
Yes.
And I'm just going in kind of, I guess, back where what I was doing a few years ago.
Having somebody like a Jan Frodeno off the bike with you, someone who you have confidence in is going to run a good pace.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that's a pretty nice scenario.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic to duke it out with him would be awesome, because he's not going to, he doesn't have a slow run.
No.
I think he's either running really fast or
he's walking.
He's walking, or he's stopped at the aid station like he did in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
He stopped at the aid stations, stretched out his cramps.
Yeah.
And then he kept running in between, and he ran like a 2:43.
Yeah.
Without probably even trying too hard. So yeah, he's got one speed, and that's quick. And done a little bit of training early in the year when he was in Noosa.
Yeah.
And we're good mates, and so I really respect how professional he is. He ticks every box. He's trained so hard since pretty much this time last year. He's had a really long, consistent build-up for this race, and the amount of and that's something I'd love to get. I wanted to get this year. Next year, I'm just going to work so hard at planning and about not overdoing it, just so I can be consistent for the whole year. And I know he's done that. So that's he's probably the most consistent guy here on the start line.
Right. And knowing that, and
from January last year, winning 70.3.
And one of the few guys in the field who can run sub 240 here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be exciting. But then there's a bunch of other guys as well that can really hurt themselves. Have hurt themselves here before, and it's their main goal as well. Hopefully my endurance does shine through towards the end. And I like I say, I like the heat here, and hopefully it all works out all right.
Hot and windy, the better. The hotter and the windier, the better.
Yeah. I think it was pretty windy the year I won, and but I don't remember it. I don't remember any of the conditions any year of any race ever. They're like, oh, remember that year that back in Foster, this.
You're
and that.
like, no
I'm
idea.
Like, really? Was it? Did it rain? Like, I don't even remember.
Really? You're
just
just focused.
Yeah, or I've done so many, they've all blended into one. I think it's just a big mashed up mess of pain.
I love it. I love it. Pete Jacobs has been our guest. Pete, thank you, man. Always an honor to have you join us.
Thanks very much, Bob. Yeah, my pleasure to be here.
All right. This is Breakfast from Kona. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're presented by Active, hashtag Inspire to Win, and brought to you by Timex, Rudy Project, which my main man Pete is wearing. GoPro, MPA Graphics, Lava Magazine, Babbittville Radio. Poncho Man, take us out, baby.
Small kind action and breakfast with Bob. Talking about small kind action and breakfast with Bob. Breakfast with Bob. Breakfast with Bob. Breakfast with Bob.
Poncho Man, you're the legend.
Hello, everybody. Oh.